Hey, what is up, you guys? I wanted to do a video today that I have never done, which is kind of crazy because over all the years that I've done YouTube sparingly and all the Halloween content I've done, I've never actually talked about the timelines and ranked the timelines from my least favorite to my favorite, given reasons why, and really just kind of dove into that. I'd never done it. Well, now that Halloween Ends has come out and a new timeline presumably has ended, for better or worse, I thought, why not finally do this video where I talk about what's my favorite timeline, what's my least favorite timeline, and why. So without further ado, let's get into the Halloween franchise timeline ranking. Guys, it's Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and if you know me, you know I'm a Halloween guy. You might have been here for years, or you might be new, but either way, that's the one thing you should know about me. That's my favorite franchise, it's what I collect. Although I collect physical media as a whole, I got a lot of Halloween stuff. And what better time than right now to rank these timelines? And I'm prefacing by saying that because I want you guys to understand there isn't a timeline I don't enjoy in this series. I think all of them have their merit, and I love all of them. Not equally, but I love all of them. So coming in at number 5, and this is solely just because it's only one movie, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. It's number 5 in my Halloween franchise ranking. I have always been a big defender of this movie. I liked it before it was cool, y'all. But having said that, we haven't expanded upon it. And, you know, a lot of people think that's good, and I don't disagree. I'd be fine if it was never touched. But there's not a lot there. You get one movie, a quick 90 minutes, you're in and you're out, and there's not much more to that timeline. In this timeline, obviously Halloween and presumably Halloween 2 are movies, and so this is really all by itself. So while I love Halloween 3 and I love the little universe that it lives in by itself, there's just really not much that's been explored in it. So it's got to go at 5, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. Now next up at number 4 is going to be the first Laurie Strode timeline. What I mean by that is Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. This one comes in at number 4 for me for quite a few reasons. I love the original Halloween. It's my favorite film ever, and absolutely my favorite Halloween film. Halloween 2 is a very good sequel. Not one of my personal favorites in the series, a damn good sequel in its own right, and inarguably a very good horror movie. But then you get into Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection, and this is where this timeline falls apart for me a little bit. I don't like how H2O ignores everything from before that, since Halloween 2. And I get why they had to do it, because they would have had to connect God knows how many loose threads to get them to make sense, and it probably wouldn't have made sense at the end of the day, but I still don't like that. Also, H2O just sets up for the worst movie in the series. The next movie, Halloween Resurrection, just completely undoes everything that H2O did well and says, aha, yeah, that climactic final fight showdown you were looking for, yeah, that was all bullshit, basically. And I just can't get behind that. If Halloween Resurrection didn't exist, this would actually probably be definitely one spot up from where it is right now. But the way that it sours with Resurrection and then in turn just ruins the end of Halloween H2O, I just can't really get behind this timeline that much. First half of it's great, second half, not so much. But at number 3 is going to be one that's probably going to be the most controversial, believe it or not. And that's Rob Zombie's Halloweens, 1 and 2. Now, again, like Halloween 3, there's only 2 movies in this universe. So although there is more explored, it's not like all the other timelines in this series. I love this timeline for a lot of reasons. I like how real the world feels. I like how dark it is. I like how everyone seems to be affected by everything that happens to them. Now, part of that also is just that I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's number 2 in my franchise ranking. I am unashamed to say that. But the world that he works in is very gritty and dark and kind of hopeless. And for a slasher series, I kind of love that because it's nice to get a representation of what a psychotic serial killer would do to a community, to a world, and, how everybody is affected by that, the fallout from that. I have always really liked that idea. Plus, I also love a lot of the casting in this universe. I love Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie. I love Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis. And obviously, Danielle Harris as Annie Brackett. And I think the standout is Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett. I think that he's the best police officer this series has ever seen. Brad Dourif, Sheriff Brackett. And I'm not going to back down from that. So although I would have loved selfishly to get a third movie in this timeline, at the same time, I'm kind of glad we didn't. Because I don't think personally they could have topped H2. But with Halloween and Halloween 2, I really, really dig this world. So this is coming in at number 3 for me. Coming in at number 2 is going to be one that's probably a lot less controversial because there's something for everyone in this timeline. And that is the new Laurie Strode timeline of Halloween 78, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Now, if you would have asked me in 2018 if this would have been my second favorite timeline in this franchise, I would have said, no, absolutely not. No way. I just wasn't the biggest fan of 2018. It's just middle of the road for me. I get that it is a super well-made movie, but it never resonated with me like it did for others. But then with the subsequent sequels, it really grew on me. Halloween Kills is just a bombastic slasher movie turned up to 11 that I have a super fun time with a great atmosphere and some insane gore. Halloween Ends is a look at a town that descends into madness because of Michael Myers, a town that is infected by evil, and how they themselves can't get out of their own way, and they turn against each other. I love this universe. Obviously, it starts with 78, and as I said earlier, that's my favorite movie of all time. But then you go into 2018 Kills and Ends, and you watch this progression of this town, these people in this town, and some of these characters throughout these movies, and I feel like it gets better and better. Laurie Strode, although over the top, it seems at times in 2018, and not really the Laurie Strode we remember, by Ends, she's the Laurie Strode you remember. We just get a lot of world building here. And Haddonfield, for the first time, feels like a really lived-in town that is real. Even a lot of people that didn't like Halloween Ends, most of them agreed that Haddonfield was great. Haddonfield felt like a small town that really had seen better days. And everybody felt authentic and real. And I loved that about this timeline. Now, had this timeline not gone that route and we had not really dived into Haddonfield as the town, I probably wouldn't like it as much. But since they do that, and watching Laurie's progression over these movies, and Michael's progression at that, I really, really, really dig this timeline. So this is my second favorite timeline in the Halloween franchise. So process of elimination tells you guys what number 1 is. And number 1, my favorite timeline in the Halloween franchise is the Thorn, Dr. Loomis, whatever you want to call it timeline. From Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, 5, and 6. This is my favorite timeline. Again, I'll say it for the third time. You start off with 78, a banger. Then you got 2. Everybody agrees 2 is good. Then you get into 4, 5, and 6, who a lot of people are ardent defenders of the Thorn trilogy, myself included. I can totally admit and accept that things get a little bit weird in Halloween 6, and we definitely go some places that it probably was best to reboot the franchise after that. Totally agree. I don't know where the hell they would have gone after that, but luckily we didn't have to find out. But in those movies, there is some gold in here. Halloween 4 is pretty much everybody's, a top 5 movie in this series for everyone. I think a lot of people agree Halloween 4 is great. Halloween 5 has a lot of lovers, but even the people that don't like it, most of them aren't like, this is an abomination to filmmaking. There are a few, but it's not that polarizing, and it's really grown in popularity over recent years. And then Halloween 6 is the same way as 5. A lot of lovers and a lot of haters that continues to grow in popularity over the years. But when you look at the story as a whole, and you start with Laurie and Loomis and Michael, and then go into Loomis and Jamie and Michael, and then you really get into the effects, again, like the previous timeline, of what this is doing to Haddonfield. They're canceling Halloween. This town is basically always obsessed with Michael Myers. And then you're getting a lot of world building with, whether you like it or not, the Man in Black. There's a lot here. There's so much to digest here. But I think the biggest thing for me is that 4, 5, and 6 were the ones that I watched the most on TV as a kid, mainly 4 and 5. And it's just near and dear to my heart. And I feel like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 work really, really well together. We have Laurie Strode's story. She presumably dies, and we have her daughter's story. Michael going after the next of kin. I really like that. Do I like the way it ultimately ends after 6? No. But everything in there, everything, is just money to me. I really, really enjoy it. So, not a controversial opinion, I don't think, because I think that is a lot of people's favorite timeline. But let me know down below what your guys' favorite timelines are in the Halloween franchise. Rank them from 5 to 1. And remember, if you're a Halloween 3 defender and lover like I am, putting it at number 5 doesn't mean you don't like it. It just means there's not enough explored there, which is totally fine, which is why I put it at 5. But I want to hear from you guys. You know how I am. I will reply. I love to talk about this stuff with you guys. So comment down below. Let me know your ranking of the timelines. Follow me on social media. And support the channel on Patreon for just $1 a month. I've got some great patron-exclusive content coming this weekend. I am leaving for Scarefest tonight. I will be there with Christian, with Jay the Stingray, with Pizow, with Justin, with a bunch of people that you watch on YouTube and people that you know very well. I'm going to be in the flesh. We're going to be doing dumb stuff. There's going to be a lot of shenanigans, and you patrons are going to get to see some of the nitty-gritty behind the scenes. So check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and this is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I am pulling out.